Welcome to the Geometry Chapter 6 Test Review Explanation. So what I'm going to do is take a few minutes to go through the test review with you, cover the different problems. Now what you'll see on this 4-page document is the first 2 pages here. So page 1 and then page 2 are just the general answer key with a little bit of work. For numbers 21, 22, you definitely want to look at the graphs for the work. And then the second 2 pages of this document are the written out explanations. So going through this, we're going to kind of look at this page, and I'd encourage you to scroll back up as need be to look at the other parts if needed. But starting with the first 3 problems in this review, it is simply finding the common unit, meaning like gallons and gallons, quarts and quarts, and then simplifying the fraction. So in number 1, 4 quarts are in a gallon, so 3 gallons over 27 quarts. Convert the 3 gallons into 12 quarts, 12 over 27 simplifies to 4 over 9. With number 2, we know there's 1,000 millimeters in a meter. So our 500 millimeters on top stays 500 millimeters. Our 2.5 meters I multiplied by 1,000, and that became 2,500 millimeters. 500 over 2,500 simplifies to 1/5. And then with number 3, we have to remember there's 16 ounces in a pound. So if I have 150 pounds over 100 ounces, 150 times 16 is 2,400 ounces, which 2,400 over 100 simplifies to 24 over 1. Now our next few problems, 4, 5, and 6, are all proportions. So what we want to first do is cross multiply, then solve for the variable. So if you look at the setups, all of them are just set up as the proportions for 4, 5, and 6. And then the first step on each is to diagonally multiply. So number 4, 6 times 91 is 546. Equals 13 times 3x, or 39x. Divide both sides by 39, and x is 14. With number 5, when we do the 4 times x plus 6, you have to make sure you use the distributive property. So 4 times x plus 4 times 6. So we end up with 4x plus 24 equals 5x. Subtract the 4x from each side, and x equals 24. Then with 6, we have 3/10 equals 5x plus 1 over 18x minus 6. So when we cross multiply with both, we need the distributive properties. That gives us 54x minus 18 equals 50x plus 10. Add the 18 to each side, then subtract the 50x. 4x equals 28, so if we divide both sides by 4, x equals 7. Now with problems 7 and 8, they gave us the proportional information. What you want to do is look at the images and take the sides off of that. So in 7, we have BC over CF equals AD over DE. BC was 18, CF was 5. AD we don't know, so that's our variable x, and DE is 3. Cross multiply and divide, so 54 divided by 5, x is 10.8. Same thing with 8. They gave us the original proportion, so we just have to look at the picture and fill in the parts. 31 over 10 equals 32 over x. Cross multiply and divide, so x is 320 over 31. You could convert that to a decimal by doing top divided by bottom, or I'm fine if you leave it as the fraction. Looking at number 9, in number 9, they gave us information. What I did is took that information and drew pictures. So what we know is we had right triangle, FGH, with legs of 12 and 16. So I just drew right triangle, FGH, and labeled my legs 16 and 12. The other triangle, JKL, we know is also a right triangle. And we know the shortest side, so our shortest leg was 2.4. So then what we need to try to do is they want us to answer how long the hypotenuse is of JKL. So the hypotenuse is the side of JL. So we know these are similar, so they both have right angles. Now what I first want to do though is solve for my hypotenuse on FGH so that I can later use that to find JL. So I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem. 12 squared plus 16 squared equals x squared. That is 400 equals x squared. So that missing hypotenuse of FH is 20. Then I can set up a proportion to find JL. So I have GH over FH equals KL over JL. 12 over 20 equals the 2.4 over Y. Cross multiply and divide. So JL, our missing hypotenuse, is 4 units. All right, number 10. So looking at 10, they want us to find the scale factor of triangle PQR to LMN. So in this case, I have to find corresponding sides. The only corresponding sides are QR and MN. QR being 17.6, or 17 and 3/5, to MN of 11. So to find my scale factor, I want to do my 17.6 divided by 11. That means my scale factor is 1.6 to 1. So K equals 1.6 to 1, or that's also 8 over 5. 1.6 is the same as 8/5. For number 11, to find the length of the altitude shown in PQR. So the altitude is that missing piece of Q down to the 90-degree angle symbol. So what I know in my other triangle is that altitude 7. So I put 7 over 11 and then x over 17.6. Cross multiply and divide, and that gives us 11.2 or 11 and 1/5. For number 12, don't worry about it throwing that problem out from the review and the test, so you won't need to worry about that one. And now we will move into similar triangles. So remember, there's many ways triangles can be similar. We could look at side relationships with side, side, side. We have side, angle, side. We could look at the angles and get an angle, angle, angle relationship. We could do all sides, or we have hypotenuse leg. So a couple different things we can look at. Again, with 13, my advice would be they gave us the right angles, so I don't have to worry about that. Then they gave us the legs that make up the right angles. 8 corresponding with 16 and 6 with 12 on the two triangles. 8 over 16 and 6 over 12 are both 1/2. So in that case, we can say side angle side ABE is similar to CBD. In 14, all they gave us was a right angle. They didn't give us any other measurements, no hypotenuse, no legs, so we cannot do anything with that. They are not similar. If we look at 15, they gave us side LK was parallel to NM. That's what those arrows on the sides mean. So what I know in that case, if those two sides are parallel, is I know angle K is congruent to angle M, because those are corresponding angles. I also know N and L are congruent, because they are corresponding angles. And I know J is congruent to itself. So in that case, I can say the triangles JKL and triangle JMN are similar. In that case would be angle, 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 but we just needed to state if they're similar or not with the similarity statement right here. In 16, those also are similar. Now in that case, what I look at is angle EHD and FHG. Those are vertical angles, so I know those are congruent. I also know side DE is parallel to GF. So that means angle E and angle G are alternate interior angles, so they're congruent. Same with angle F and angle D. That means, again, I have three angles, so triangle EHD is similar to triangle GHF. Then with 17, 18, 19, and 20, they all want us to find the value of x. So all of these come back to being proportion problems. If I look at number 17, I was given the congruent angle in that bottom left. So I know that x can go with 12, so x over 12. And then x minus 4 corresponded with the 9, so I set up my proportion, cross multiply, giving me 9x equals 12x minus 48. Then I subtracted the 12x, so I have a negative 3x equals negative 48. Divide both sides by negative 3, and x equals 16. If for any reason you'd get a negative answer on 17, 18, 19, or 20, realize you can't have a negative side length, so you made a mistake. In 18, what I was given was the 18 corresponding with the 36 on the bottom, and then the 16 over 3x plus 11 on top. Before I cross multiply, I realize 18 over 36 is the same as 1/2. Then cross multiply, so 32 equals 3x plus 11. Subtract 11, 21 equals 3x. Divide by 3, and 7 equals x. 19 for that setup on the left-hand side, 34 corresponding with x. And then on the right, 30 with 9, so 34 over x equals 30 over 9. Cross multiply and divide. 306 divided by 30 is 10.2. And then on 20, we have on the left 4x over 25, and on the right 24 over 6x. So when we cross multiply, 24 times 25 is 600 equals 24x squared. Divide both sides by 24, and 25 equals x squared. So the square root of 25 is 5, so 5 equals x. Now, going back up for the two graphs, when they say draw a dilation of the polygon, that means you do not have to draw the original. The dilation would be that final figure. So what you want to do is take your original points, multiply x and y by whatever k is, your scale factor. That gives you all your new points. And then you simply graph the new points and draw in your sides. And then last but not least, with number 23, a conversion of money problem or an exchange rate. So at this time, 0.82 euros was the exchange rate per $1. And then we're trying to figure out X number of euros out of $450. So 450 times 0.82 gives us our answer of 369 euros.